All right, I'm back. We got some Holy Mountain, As Within, So Without. This is a Idaho 7 Extra Pale Ale. Coming in at 5.5 ABV. So Idaho 7 is the single hop for this one. Looks like we got like some sort of doorway in the middle of the cosmos there. Not sure what's going on. Also like a serpent in the clouds. Not sure what's going on, but let's go ahead and crack it. Get right into this unique review. I featured this one on the channel before. This one's pretty good. Idaho 7, I don't normally see it like all alone. But it definitely, in this adaptation, it's very bright, it's very snappy. It does have like some floral characteristics as well as some sweetness. It comes across as kind of dry, but very nice, very light bodied, very crushable. All right, so today's review is on Barrister Mann's 4 Horsemen. Now, I'm going to be talking about all 4 scents, the package as a whole, and just thoughts, impressions, and rankings. So, let's get right into it. The packaging, very nice, big box set. If you saw the unboxing, you'll know it was pretty good shit. We got some little goodies like some glow sticks, some stickers, some candy. Those are just little added bonuses. All 4 soaps and splashes were packaged and protected very nicely. However, I did get one of the aftershaves. The cap broke. I don't know if it was over tightened. I don't know if it was just shook up during transit. No idea. But did have 1 out of the 4 aftershave caps break. Shit happens sometimes. It is what it is. Other than that, everything was in great condition. Now, I believe if you wanted to buy a single set, soap and an aftershave, because you could buy them individually, I do believe there was around $40 for a soap and aftershave. However, this was I don't know if it's the first time Will at Barrister Mann has ever done this, but there was a bundle package for the whole collection. So 4 soaps, 4 aftershaves, and it was $136 for the whole bundle. So you save a few bucks there, because if it was 40 times 4, it would be like 160, right? But this was 136, so there's definitely some savings there. If in fact it was, $20 per item. But anyhow, I did take advantage of the bundle. I bought the whole thing all at once. It's in the Omnibus tallow soap base, which is phenomenal. We don't really got to talk about the performance of Barrister Mann products, because the Omnibus soap base is phenomenal. The aftershave base is phenomenal. Don't got to talk about it. That goes without saying at this point. I'm sure the majority of the community agrees. Now, all of these scents were based on one, or they all shared one Chypre accord. Now, on all 4 tubs, you'll see citrus, resins, and moss, and that is the accord that they all 4 share. But each one has a little something extra that makes it different and unique from the others. But they all have that same base, and we'll get into that a little bit more later. I do feel, however, I can pick up the Chypre in all 4 scents. I feel like it is there in all 4 scents. But moving on. So I am going to kind of rank them starting from my least favorite to the best, but along the way, I'm going to give some impressions as well. So let's get into it. I'm going to take another swig. All right. Coming in at number 5 out of 4. No, this is definitely tongue-in-cheek. But this one, let's just say I was most anticipating this scent out of the 4, out of the collection. So, little backstory. My favorite colors, red and black. I just happen to be in Aries. Aries is the god of war. And so I was really looking forward to war. I was looking forward to Barrister Mann's War from the Four Horsemen collection. If you don't know, if you didn't see my 4 individual videos of the 4 scents, I also am a big fan of the Four Horsemen story and lore and whatnot. I actually, years prior, started making a collection of 4 themed shaving brushes of the Four Horsemen. And I guess I can show them as I go. But me and Barrister Mann kind of took different paths. So, Barrister Mann has plague, war, famine, death. And I have conquest, war, famine, death. So, I was going off of, the theme for my brushes was going off of the horse, like the color of the descriptor of the horse, as well as other characteristics of the horseman. And that's what I kind of themed my brushes along. And so we kind of took different directions, and I'll talk about it as we go. But anyways, I was invested in this collection. I already had these Four Horsemen brushes before Barrister Mann ever announced it. In fact, I've had them for a long time before Barrister Mann ever announced it. So I was invested. When I saw this, I was like, I like the theme. I already have a brush collection that can match this. And I already love Barrister Mann's products. I love their scents most of the time. But in all honesty, Barrister Mann makes some of my all-time favorite scents in wet shaving. So I was invested. Let's get back to war. I wanted to like war so much. It was the one that I was looking the most forward to, and it is undoubtedly the one that let me down the most. It could have lived up to the hype, but it didn't. So, the Four Horsemen, war. Nice kind of fiery red label. We got some yellows, we got some oranges, we got a little bit of black in the background. Looks like he arrived on a red horse. Artwork, the new Barrister Mann artwork for their core lineup, as well as this Four Horsemen collection, I'm just not a fucking fan. I think it is overall a downgrade. Of course, artwork is subjective, but this isn't to my preferences. Not a fan. But the artwork doesn't have anything to do with the center performance, but not a fan. So we got, the Four Horsemen collection, we got the individual scent name, and then Barrister Mann. The side labels on all of these are very nice. We got the ingredients, we got the website, how many ounces, some scent notes, hot metal, gunpowder, citrus resins, moss. That's that Shipra cord. We can go ahead and, or maybe not. What the fuck is going on here? I really tightened that one down. You can see where I scooped some over there on the side. So, let me just leave the cap off here. And I'll flip my notes here. So, here we go. We got war, metal, aldehydes, gunpowder, leather, clary sage, amber, ozone, gun oil, and then the Shipra notes. I thought this had the potential to be a really interesting scent. What I ended up getting out of this was a very vibrant cilantro. And I know metal, aldehydes, gunpowder, leather, clary sage, amber, ozone, gun oil. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you guys. I think I should be smelling one thing, and when I close my eyes and I try to pick it apart, I almost can. I almost can smell something else. But if I did a 360 and put my nose back in it, it would be cilantro. So I like cilantro on my tacos, but I don't like it in my shave soap. I don't like it on my body as a scent. I don't know. This one to me just missed the mark. It had the potential to be, a very transportive type of scent, putting you on the battlefield with the hot metal and things like that. I don't think they achieved it, unfortunately. It's hard to describe what I'm getting. I do think like the aldehydes, the gun oil, the gunpowder to a much lesser extent. I think the metal, like the metallic note, might be what's really fucking making the scent take a left turn. I think whatever metal note, the metallic nature of it with everything else, it's making my mind think cilantro. And there's just no getting over it. And it's bold, it's banging, and it has staying power, man. When you get it on your collar or your beard, it has staying power. And I just don't want to smell like cilantro. I don't want to go on too long about this one, but I think it missed the mark. So that's war. Let's move on to number 3, my third favorite out of the bunch. My third favorite was the first one I shaved with, and it was a nice surprise. So Plague was number 3. Now, Plague is supposed to be the first Horseman, and at least in the lore that I'm familiar with, the first Horseman was Conquest, and Conquest arrived on a white horse. I guess I should have been showing you the brushes so that you know I'm not full of shit, but there's number 1. There's a fluted wolf whiskers with red and black, red, white and red, and a blood synthetic knot on top. Let me go ahead and grab these from my display. Okay, so Plague was supposed to be Conquest, and Conquest arrived on a white horse, and the rider was wearing a crown, and I think this unique triple fluted pattern is kind of crown shaped. So this beautiful fluted Lancaster was my Conquest brush. Now, you could see not a white horse, not wearing a crown. It actually looks like it's depicted as a female character, perhaps. Don't know what the fuck is going on there. But, I mean, whatever. So, I think they missed the mark on the artwork. The side label, don't gotta go over that again. But this one does have lavender and herbs, as well as citrus resins moss. And you can see there where I scooped it. Now, Plague, I do think, is very pleasant. I do think Plague would be a crowd pleaser type scent. It's not one that is mind-blowing or knock your socks off. It's probably not one that's going to be like your new all-time favorite. But it's enjoyable. There's something masculine about it. There's something a little bit more mature about this one. and it's just calming. It's familiar almost, and it's a little bit wild and herbaceous. So let me read off the scent notes here. This one has thyme, sage, rosemary, lavender, geranium, and then the core chypre accord. So as you can imagine, there's a lot of floral spices. This one is very herbaceous. It's going on. It kind of has like this wild nature to it. But there's also that the little citrus notes, little resin, and it comes across as very enjoyable, very familiar, and I do enjoy this one. But I think because it wasn't anything like spectacular or mind-blowing, number 3 was as far as it was going to get. But really nothing bad to say about Plague. It's a pretty good one. Okay, moving on. So number 2 and number 1 were hard for me. It took a couple days kind of flip-flopping, and I was a little bit wishy-washy. So both of these scents, they have a rose note, and I am notorious for disliking rose. Rose isn't one of my most liked scent notes. It's one that I kind of shy away from. Although I've tried a lot of things with rose in it, I rarely like them. A lot of the times I despise them. And so I was kind of skeptical about both of these, I gotta be honest. But I was pleasantly surprised with both of these, number 2 and number 1. So let's start with number 2. We got Famine. So now Famine, in the lore that I'm familiar with, arrived on a black horse, and Famine was notorious for having the scales. You know, he had the gold on one side of the scale and the bread on the other side of the scale, and everybody was, it cost so much to get some bread. People were going hungry, thus famine, among other things. So here is my Famine brush. So we got the black resin as well as black dyed wood. And then I also put some silver and gold in there just to kind of represent the scales, that the horse rider had. So moving on, artwork, I mean, maybe it's a black horse, but there's a lot of pink and blue and purple going on. The rider doesn't have scales in his hands, doesn't have the scales. I just don't know what the fuck. The artwork is off yet again, in my opinion. This time they only use dust and hunger as, the descriptor for this one. Doesn't give us any insight to what the hell is going on. I guess he's trying to point you in a direction, imagery and whatnot, but doesn't really help, does it? So the scent notes on rose are rose, jasmine, vanilla, and cedar. And this one, honestly, the more I got familiar with it, it reminded me a lot of another rose note, one of the few rose scents that I actually enjoy, and that was Chatillon Luxe's Yuzu Rose Patchouli. And so this one only has rose, although it does have a citrus note. No patchouli, but it does have vanilla. So, I mean, there's different base notes, but it is what it is. But it was reminiscent, and I also found a similar enjoyment out of this one. I really thought this was going to take the cake, but nah, it just got edged out by the last one. This one I think is very nice, cologne-like. I think this one could probably go on a female or a male and do equally as well. It's unisex. I think this is one that, although it's warm, it's not super warm, it's not super dark. I think you could wear this one year round. Very well blended. I think kind of like the lighter, brighter rose takes up 1/3, the chypre accord takes up 1/3, and then that kind of mix of vanilla and cedar giving you that sweet woody note takes up the other third, and together it makes a really well blended scent. I really, really enjoy this one. he should come out with with an EDP of that one and this last one. So let's get into this last one before the video goes on too long. So the last one on my my first impressions unboxing video was my favorite on the first impression. On the first sniff, this was my favorite. So we got Death. Now Death, I think, that is the best label out of the bunch. A kind of grayscale, white, black, and gray theme going on here. I do like the font that they chose in multiple facets of this. So Death does have the scythe. He is kind of like the tall, slender, cloaked character. Death arrived, though, so this is where they got it wrong again, in my opinion. Death arrived on a pale green horse. Pale green horse. So Death, the pale rider, arrived on a pale horse. It was often referred to as pale green. And so I got this beautiful brush from Lancaster Razorworks, fluted on the bottom as well as the top ferrule. Absolutely stunning job. It's really, really a one of a kind. But that is not what this video is about. I do have a series just showcasing these brushes, though. It's an older video, but I do have it if you're interested in the stories behind the brushes. So Death. Death, they have the citrus resins moss, and Doom, again, trying to point you in a direction, getting you to use your imagination, but not really helpful when you're looking for scent notes. So, the scent notes on Death: bergamot, labdanum, oak moss, patchouli, clary sage, rose, vetiver, amber, and bay. This one again, very well blended. I do think it's complex and it's harder to pick apart. You have to start putting things together, sort of like I did with Famine, but Famine had less scent notes. This one, there's more scent notes, and it's kind of harder to put things together to try to piece this together. It's complex. Again, I think this one can be worn year-round. This one leans masculine, though. I don't think it's too warm. I don't think it's too dark necessarily. It's kind of one of those, and I've found this in a few cases, it's what I call a dark fresh scent. So it still has this air of freshness to it. I'm sure the bergamot, the clary sage, I don't know, on top, it leans a little bit, it has like clean edges, I'll say that, and citrus, but it has these other features, the labdanum, the vetiver, and this rose is like a little bit darker and dustier. Very nice. It creates kind of like this spicy, earthy, as well as, you know, like with the patchouli and the bay. It kind of has like this spicy, earthy thing going on, but it's not overdone. It still maintains that air of freshness. And then there's just this ever so slightest bit of like green oak moss powdery. So very, it's complex, but it's very well done. I don't think it's overdone, and I would love like an EDP option of this one as well. So, you know, out of the set, I think we got 3 good ones, 1 stinker. The artwork is all over the place thematically. I don't think they hit the nail on the head there. But do I think it's worth it? If I would have bought these individually, you know, for $40 a set, $160, I would probably feel more burned. The bundle definitely helps things, but I think having the Sheepra base on all 4 scents was unnecessary. I understand, like thematically, all four horsemen were all horsemen. They had something in common. But these four soaps, these four scents, didn't need to have anything in common. Um, it's kind of repetitive. I can feel the Shipra in each one. Although, did things to separate them from each other, I feel like having four Shipras in a Halloween release of all things, kind of out of place, kind of repetitive. And although the scents are different, I think that was uncalled for. Would I do it again? Probably not. Being honest, I think I would have waited it out, read some reviews, made a more informed decision, maybe got some samples from friends or community members. I don't feel like super duper burned, but every time you have a stinker, every time you get one that's a bust, it hurts. You know what I mean? It just you can't get past it, and that's how I feel right now. Anyhow, overall, I like 3 out of the 4. 2 of them are bangers in my opinion. I would buy the EDPs of them, and I love Barrister and Mann's products, so the omnibus space and all that. I love that stuff. So I'm content, but I don't think I would do it again, especially if they chose the same business model, doing 4 with the same core notes. Nah, give me 4 original, unique scents. They don't have to have a common thread. You know what I mean? I don't know. And maybe it's just me, but keep them separate. You know what I mean? Thematically, the labels can differ, but the scents don't need to have anything in common. So that's my review of Barrister and Mann's 4 Horsemen. I do have other collections in my shave den. So if you want to see more like step-by-step, soap-by-soap reviews of those collections, let me know. Also, let me know if there's, a collection that's on your mind that you want me to do. And I'll try to make that happen for you guys. But I really enjoyed doing this. It's something a little bit different for me. Something a little bit more formal, I think. But let me know if there's any pointers how I could have addressed this better. But I think I did all right, and I enjoyed it. So thank you guys for watching. I definitely appreciate you. Hope you enjoyed this series. I know this video went on long, but I'm reviewing a lot of products here. So, all right, guys. Cheers. Hope you guys have a good rest of your week, and I'll catch you on the next one.